Welcome to the True Demon Lord show. I am, of course, the True Demon Lord, Franco, and today we're going to be looking at Blood Legion. So it's the final one of our Grotmus calendar detachment focuses. I saved it to last because it's the one I'm least looking forward to looking at and talking about. If you know me and if you follow the channel, you know I'm not much of a corn guy, and my personal opinion on this detachment is not very high. But I'm going to try and approach this with as much or as little bias as possible, because I know a lot of people do love it and a lot of people love their corn, and this one has been very much requested in person as well as through comments and on Facebook. So we have finally got round to it and we will be talking about it. And again, I will try and remain as enthusiastic about it as I possibly can. So before we do get into it, if you love the content we make here, consider leaving a like and subscribe. It helps out the channel massively. And if you want further support the channel and support myself, and if you want to get some more in-depth tactical content, member specific, then considering becoming a true denizen through YouTube memberships. Again, you get some extra benefits, you get some more member exclusive videos and stuff, and just a bit more of a direct line to myself. So let's get into it. The Blood Legion is a two-part detachment rule, which I really like. Like Legion of Excess, I like the fact that it's not just a rule, it's actually some fairly not bad detachment rules, and it's a two-part one, which is quite cool. So you've got Murder Call, which is basically after an enemy unit finishes a normal or advanced move within 6 inches of one or more Legionnaires Demonica Khorne units, you can pick one of those Legionnaires Demonica Khorne units and immediately make a surge move of D6 inches. So a surge move is a specific type of move, which, you know, normally D6 movement, and you can end that move within engagement range of an enemy unit. So that's pretty good because obviously, if you play this properly, it's very positional based. Like you've really got to get the positioning down with your units, which is going to require a lot of practice and playtesting. But if you get the positioning right, your opponent's going to have to get to like objectives and have to potentially get locked into combat. And because there was no charge made, when it comes to the fight phase, which will be in their turn, your unit will get the fight before them because there will be no fights first on them. And obviously, the person whose turn it isn't gets to pick activations outside of fight first. So, yeah, I mean, it's good. Problem is, I feel like you will catch out a lot of like people who don't play a lot or people who aren't, I don't want to say very good, but I guess you will catch them out all day long and you'll be beating them up with this. But against decent players that can play around this, they will just get around it, moving, 7.1 inches away, letting you surge move into their unit and then getting ready to charge in with another unit. There's multiple ways around it, but yeah, if you can get the positioning right, this can be very, very good. And then it's got Blood Tainted as the other rule. So at the end of a phase, if a unit was destroyed by a Legionnaires Demonica Khorne unit while it was on an objective, and basically you control the objective now, then it becomes sticky. So you now control it until your opponent takes it off you. Now, they've worded it in a very weird way where they basically say about level of control. And I've had a lot of people ask me about this, basically saying, for example, the way they've kind of left it open, some people interpret it as if you've got, say, 6 bloodletters on the objective, which would be 12 OC, the objective remains at 12 OC, even if you've got nothing on there, and now your opponent has to get 13 OC on there to take it. Not the case. When it mentions level of control, it just means your level of control is higher than your opponent. So let's say your opponent has 2 units on the objective, you charge in with bloodletters, you kill one of those units, so you have 10 bloodletters on there, and that's 20 OC, and your opponent has, I don't know, 6 OC2 guys, so that's OC12. Your level of control is higher than theirs, therefore it is now yours, and now it becomes sticky. So, and this isn't locked to fight phase, so you can kill something in the shooting phase. So Skull Cannons can do it, or Scarbrand, Bloodthirsters, with their flamers and stuff as well. But it has to be a core unit that kills the enemy unit on the objective. Doesn't have to be a core unit on the objective though. So let's say you've got plague bearers in your list, and the plague bearers are on the objective. Now I know they have sticky, but we're just using them as an example. Let's say they're on the objective. You shoot a unit off with a skull cannon. Because the skull cannon killed the unit, now because you now control it, it now becomes yours. So that's nice. It's nice that it's yes, it should be a core unit that has to kill the unit, but it's nice that they've not locked you into having to have a core unit on the objective. Right, so enhancement wise, we got first up Slaughterthirst. So you can give it to a non-monster Legioness Demonica Khorne character. And basically, while any of your Legioness Demonica Khorne units are within six, you can give it to any Legioness Demonica Khorne character, but while a non-monster Legioness Demonica Khorne unit is within 6 inches, they gain the Lance ability. So I got that around in my head. I got it the wrong way around in my head. And Lance, of course, is +1 to wound when you make a charge roll. Not bad. It doesn't affect monsters, which hurts a little bit, and it's the same issue I have with like False Majesty and the Booming Crown for excess. But it's not bad on the Bloodthirster because they've got a 6-inch aura +1 hit for all core units anyway. So then having essentially a +1 to charge aura as well, not awful. But the Ringmaster, they're fairly tough profile to put it on. Though kind of Ringmasters, they want to get stuck in when they need to, but also don't mind sitting a little bit further back to give out their buffs. On the Wing Prince, of course, he doesn't benefit from it, but he moves 12, so he can keep up with your Flesh Hounds and your Blood Crushers and that. My main problem with this is if you're taking Blood Letters, you're probably going to have Blood Masters, which give you plus on the wound in them anyway. I mean, it wouldn't be bad on Skull Taker's unit, but then you've also got Blood Crushers where the mounts already have Lance, so it's just the riders. And yes, it affects Flesh Hounds, but do you really care that much about Flesh Hounds wounding on +1 to wound? It actually pairs really well with the Renmaster buffs of +1 strength AP damage. So yeah, it's something, but for 35 points, I don't know, I feel like there's better options. It's okay. I think it's a bit pricey for what it does. Next, we have Fury's Cage, and you can only give this to a Khorne monster, so a Bloodthirster or a Demon Prince. And at the start of the fight phase, you can choose for the bearer to take D3 +1 mortal wounds, and then you gain 4 rerolls of hit and wound for the rest of the phase. That's really, really good. I like this. The fact that you have to take wounds, same with excess, where you have to give up fights first. I think if you're getting a buff like this, you should always give something up or take something negative to be able to gain this buff. And unfortunately, not enough armies have to do that. They just get buffs like this easily. But we always seem to be written quite fairly in that respect, and we always have to lose something to gain something. But I personally think that's a good way to do it. I love this. This is brilliant. It actually makes a blood. Now, again, if you know me, if you know this channel, you follow me, you'll know I hate Bloodthirsters. But this actually makes a Bloodthirster worth it because they roll so many ones. But this helps you. So you're hitting on twos with a +1 to hit. You're hitting on twos with a +1 to hit, so you can cancel like -1s, re-rolling ones to hit, and then also re-rolling wound rolls at strength 16, -4 d6 +2 damage. It makes him the massive damage dealer that he should be. You've kind of got a pseudo Phylaxy now, right, for Khorne. I hate that this is in Blood Legion, and you can't just take this in Demonic Conversion. If you could, you'd take a Bloodthirster all day long, but like with all the detachments, you're like all the god specific detachments, you're always pretty much taking an unnamed greater demon because they're just good, or they benefit the army. And so taking a Bloodthirster, it's taking Fury's Cage on him is auto take if you're taking a Bloodthirster in Blood Legion. 100% done. So yeah, it makes him a really big damage dealer. You do have to be careful because you don't always want to nilly-willy do it because D3 +1 wounds every single time. You don't want to make your opponent's life easier by wounding your own Bloodthirster to the point where they can kill it easier. But in those situations where he's going to need it, it's pretty good. Next, we have Brazen Maw, which you can give to a Legioness Demonica Khorne character, and it gives his unit +2 to charge rolls. That's really, really good. Of course, Bloodthirsters and Demon Princes like this. It now means, they've just got +2 to charge. If they drop in from Deep Strike, they've got 7 charge. But also, both of them move 12 inches. Giving them +2 to charge actually gives them both real serious threat, especially the Bloodthirster. Again, if you're only taking one Bloodthirster, you're always going to take Fury's Cage before you take Brazen Maw on him. But either big monster having this is really nice. This though does combine very well on instrument units, so Bloodletters or Blood Crushers, because having a demonic instrument means you have +1 to charge anyway. So now having this gives you +3 to charge, so you can drop the unit from reserve, from deep strike. That's going to be 9 inches away, a 6-inch deep strike. Really, really good. You can always rapid ingress and then move and then get +3 to charge still. It's really good. This, this is the double Blood Crusher kind of bomb in this detachment is quite nasty. Having a unit of 6 Blood Crushers, you could hide a Skullmaster this unit if you want. They pitch themselves up behind terrain and then they go through it with the strat. And then the other one drops down with a Skullmaster in it with Brazen Maw, +3 to charge, and you've just got 2 units of Blood Crusher just push in one turn. Or you can just one turn, like you'd have to do it all in the same turn, and it's just a massive threat. So yeah, Brazen Maw's really good for 15 points. I think it has its best uses on a Skullmaster in a unit of Crushers, but it's not bad on a Bloodmaster in a unit of Letters either. It's also not terrible on a Bloodthirster or a Winged Prince, but only if you're taking a second Bloodthirster, because you're always going to be taking Fury's Cage on the first one. And then we have Gateway onto Damnation, which is definitely by far the coolest named enhancement we have out of all of them. And it is only 10 points. It can only go on a core monster. And the bearer's Deadly Demise ability goes off on a 2+ instead of a 6. Deadly Demise being explosion upon death. So when it dies, you roll a dice on a 6, it would explode. It now is on a 2. And if the bearer has destroyed one or more enemy units during the battle, their Deadly Demise becomes D3+3 instead of, in a Bloodthirster's case, D6, in a Demon Prince's case, D3. So I really love this. I like this on a Demon Prince. You just 12-inch movement, you can throw him, put him through walls for a CP. He flies into a unit. He can get precision, so you can send him into, a deadly area, pick out a little character, kill it, and then go, cool. Now I'm in a pretty good area. Come near me because I'm just going to blow up and kill you. Also on a Bloodthirster, again, if you're taking one Bloodthirster, Fury's Cage, but if you're taking multiple, I don't hate this on a Bloodthirster. You just, yeet him into the middle of your opponent's army, beat up something, because a Bloodthirster can kill, should be able to kill a lot of things anyway, so it should be a lot easier for him to get this off. And because he's got a bigger base, he's got a bigger threat range of exploding. And then, yeah, it's just the damage that this can really cause is quite horrible. And I love the idea of just kamikaze that Bloodthirster. It's just funny. Also, it's got a great name, right? So yeah, I like it. I think it's quite cool. Having him kind of yeet onto an objective and go, get close, I dare you. I've killed something. If you come near me, I'm going to explode and die and bring you with me. If you don't, awesome. You're not getting on the objective. It's just really cool. So moving on to stratagems, we have Wrath Undeniable. You use it in the fight phase. You select one. You choose one of your Legionnaires Demonica Corn units that was selected as a target of one or more of your opponent's attacks. It's fighting death 4+. It's not bad. It's pretty good on squishy units like Bloodletters because they go in, or they get charged because they're going to die. They're only T4 with 1 wound and a 5 of invuln. Procking this means, cool, I'm going to at least get to hit you with each dead Bloodletter that are hitting on 2s, hitting on 3, sorry, with 2 attacks, a strength 5 -2/2 damage, not to mention any potential Remmaster buffs or other buffs nearby. You can only use it, so you don't get the fight habit for a whole phase, you just get it against a certain unit's attacks, but still good enough. And it will just allow you to get a bit more value out of a destroyed unit. Like your letters go in, normally Bloodletters, they go in, they kill something, they die. Can be a little bit for 110 points, but they go in, they kill something, then they get charged, they die, but then they also kill something or kill part of a unit on the way out. Actually makes them a lot more valuable, so I do really like it. It's okay on Blood Crushers. You can use it on anyone, so you could potentially get it on a Bloodthirster, which is quite funny, and it actually could be the difference of winning and losing games. Like if your opponent charges in and they need to get on an objective in the last turn and you got Bloodthirster on it, Especially if the Bloodthirster has Gateway onto Damnation, they kill him, he explodes, he then rolls a 4+, and then he fights on death. Like, he can actually kill an entire unit that kills him. Um, that's actually really, really good. I like that. Right, then we've got Gore, Hungry, Onslaught. It's moved through walls. All the other detachments got it. It's a great strat. It's amazing on Bloodthirsters. Amazing. It's amazing on Blood Crushers as well. And Scarbrand, who already moves 8 inches, so he's a bit slower. Rapid ingressing him behind a bit of terrain, out of line of sight, and then moving him through it in the next turn and going in to charge something is really, really good. Using it on Rendmasters as well to get them into better positions to be able to put their Blood Throne ability on something in the fight phase. So yeah, I think for outside of, I think Sinesh XS definitely makes good use of this. I actually think Blood Legion Corn makes the best use of it. I think this stratagem is best and has more value on Corn as a whole than it does on the others. Though it has a lot of value on Slanesh, a little bit on Corn, a little bit on Nurgle, and a little bit on Zinch. Um, Mostly for those two, it's going to be on Demon Princes, maybe, and Greater Demons, of course. But yeah, this is really, really good on a lot of the Corn units. Next, we have False Flight. So I called this stratagem. When it was announced about the 4 detachments, I knew that they were going to give us some kind of charge in the opponent's turn type of strat. But I thought it would be, you get the charge in your opponent's charge phase. So I was off with the timing, but I was right with the idea, and I really like this. So, and it's also a nice complement, or goes quite nice with the detachment rule, the murder call. So when your opponent finishes a normal or advanced move, you can surge, because this is when your opponent's in your opponent's movement phase, just after an enemy unit falls back. So you're also just this stuff is all about just getting into your opponent in their movement phase, which is quite funny. You can select one Legioness Demonic Corn unit from your army that is within 6 inches of that enemy unit, would be eligible to declare a charge against the enemy unit. So obviously, if they're still locked in combat, they can't do it. So they get to make a charge against an enemy unit that fell back within 6 inches, as long as they're eligible to declare a charge. And then you just make the charge, but you don't get the charge bonus, because that would just be a bit silly. But they would still get to fight before them because it's your opponent's turn, but it does also obviously give your opponent the chance to then be able to charge you to react to it. Again, this stratagem is 2 CP, so it's a lot of points against certain opponents, against certain armies, where they're just going to charge you anyway. It's going to be annoying. But if a unit has fallback, shoot, and charge, this is a really good way to counter it. Obviously, if a unit moves 6 inches, if you're just like flush against it, like line to line, they fall back 6. They're not gonna be within 6 of you anymore, because they're gonna be 6.1 away. But if you kind of pincer it when they fall back with the 6-inch movement, they're gonna have to land somewhere within 6 of at least one of the models. So we will go into this when we do our False Flight stratagem focus. But I do like it. It's a good way to, again, bypass fallback, shoot, charge, keep units locked in combat that they don't want them to be in, and to also get potentially more models of yours onto an objective. Because if you've only got a couple guys on the objective, they fall back, you then charge in, you get more guys on. So it's quite nice. It also is a really good way to protect some of your units, because if your opponent is falling a unit back so they can shoot into this unit and you just charge back in, now it's like, cool, now you can't shoot my unit. The funny thing is, again, you can use this on a Bloodthirster. Really, really good. Because if he goes in and maybe he double charges 2 vehicles, kills one of them falls back. Obviously, it's going to be harder to do, but if you can position yourself in the right position, they fall back, you manage to stay within 6, and then you charge in. And note, it isn't just a unit that falls back from them. So if a unit falls back anywhere within 6 inches of him, again, just charge in. It's pretty good. Next, we have Sheathed in Brass, which you can use in your opponent's shooting phase. It gives you a 3+ armor save. I actually like this. I think this was a really good idea. It's going to be best on Bloodletters, and it is only against one activation. So when your opponent activates a unit to shoot, you use this for that activation, and then you lose it. It doesn't last for the whole phase, but it's good on Bloodletters because your opponent's just pumping bolter shots into you. You can use this. even if they're -1, Bloodletters get a 4+. Now they would have a 4+ save. Still better than 5+. If they're in cover, 3+ save. Same with Blood Crushers. If they're firing -1 into you, you get a 3+ save. If you're in cover, you're going to keep the 3+ save. Same as a Bloodthirster. So even if it's AP -1, on some units like Fleshhounds or Bloodletters, it's still going to be good because they're still going to have a 4-up. But if you can manipulate cover, great. Like, you're still going to be able to 3-up against -1. So yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Then we have Skulls Beget Blood. It's essentially like mini grenades. So you use it in your shooting phase. Has to be an infantry or a mounted unit. So Bloodletters or Blood Crushers or Rem Masters. They can't have fallen back and they can't be within engagement range. They pick an enemy unit that is not within engagement range of another unit within 8 inches. Roll 6 dice, every 4+ is a mortal wound. It's mini grenades. It's not bad. It's not bad to really weaken a unit. Blood Crushers doing this, then charging in and doing D3 mortal wounds per 4+ on top of that. It's just a lot of mortal wounds going through. And again, just a really good way to bypass good invuns, good armor saves, high toughness. So it's not bad. And then we have Blood Begets Skulls, which is the opposite, I guess. And it's Advance and Charge. Really, really good, right? Advance and Charge on a corn unit, on a corn army is just fantastic. Like we were saying earlier, with double Blood Crusher Bomb, one drops in with +3 to charge from reserve, the other goes through a wall. It can advance and charge. It's going to cost it 2 CP, 1 CP to go through the wall, 1 CP to advance and charge. But then also advance and charge, maybe you can get around the wall, so you don't even need to use to go through a wall, meaning you can use it somewhere else. The Bloodthirster advancing and charging, Scarbrand advancing and charging. Scarbrand loves this. It's also the difference between getting a unit of, like, say, Fleshhounds up onto an objective to be able to take it for your opponent and beat something up on an objective. It also means you can hide your Bloodletters a bit more and then still get them out and get into some nice charges. So yeah, it's really, really good. Advance and charge for a corn army is just solid. So, of course, key units, like we've said with all the other ones, the Greater Demon and the name Greater Demon, both very key for this. Bloodthirst giving out their auras for +1 to hit is fantastic. A Bloodthirst with Fury's Cage is just, I actually think it's kind of auto take for Blood Legion. Scarbrand is just super solid. Damage 6 attacks in combat is really good. Rem Masters are just so good. +1 strength AP damage on a unit for all the corn stuff that attacks it in the fight phase. Just really solid. Blood Masters with Bloodletters are really, really good. Blood given +1 to wound. Blood Crushers obviously are decent when they charge, doing the mortal wounds, actually have some decent damage on the charge, and also really tough, toughness 7, 4-up invuln, 4 wounds. And Fleshhound, like, just zooming Fleshhounds out to them go cool, move, because I'm just going to run into you. It's just really good because they can get an inch away. They've got a 12-inch movement. Your opponent then has to, and you can use them, like advancing them as well, kind of circling them. So wherever they're going to move, you're not going to be that far away. So rolling after 3 or 4 on your murder call roll will actually not be too bad. And then, of course, Plague Bearers and Beast of Nurgle as non-corn units to take in this detachment are good. You're going to see Plague Bearers in pretty much every list because they're just really good. And Beast and Nurgle are just really cheap, but also fairly tough drop-down action units. So, yeah, that is the Blood Legion. I think I was pretty good at that. Considering I don't really like corn, and I'm quite known for slagging corn off, I think I was very unbiased on that, and I was quite high on it. Actually, the more I was talking about it, the more I was like, ooh, I actually do want to try it out. I do want to. I will try it out eventually. It just doesn't get me too excited, I can't lie. But I do think it's one of these attachments that into mid to lower range opponents, it's fantastic. Once you start hitting those upper class, like higher, much better opponents, you will struggle because they will just be able to play around you. But I do think that if everything kind of goes right for you with this detachment, you will just kind of walk people. But then it is also very much if you don't get to pull your tricks, you're going to be in a little bit of trouble. But it's a very aggro army. It's all about running forward, grabbing your opponent, keeping your opponent down, grabbing your opponent again, hitting them in the face. It's very corn, right? And that's cool. Like, I think it can be definitely fun to play, and if you do like your corn, then give it a go. Like, definitely give it a go. So, of course, we will do the tier list for units in Blood Legion as well, which will probably come out next week. So keep an eye on that. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget, like and subscribe if you really, really like the content we do, and to keep up to date with everything. And we will catch you all in the next one.